I see a lot of love here, and I'm very, very, very happy to see that. My name is Mike Canine. I am fortunate enough to sit on the steering committee of the Indian River Lagoon Coalition. I am also even more fortunate to be the executive director of Anglers for Conservation. My friend Rodney Smith says, one of the words that comes out of my friend Rodney Smith's mouth all the time says, you do not choose where you're born, but I couldn't be happier being born and raised right here on the Indian River Lagoon. And my stories run deep, but I want to share this short one with you. I was driving west over Pineda Causeway this morning, and I looked north into the Banana River, and I saw dolphin crashing the bait, I saw pelicans diving on the bait, and I saw life. But please, please, please don't let that fool you. We got a long, long, long way to go. So there's a lot of hope, and Mother Nature can bounce back, but we need to give her every bit of help that we can. So with that said, I'm going to bring out 4 people that represent the water from their hearts. You know, water surrounds them on a day-to-day basis. First guy is Gary Avey. He represents Paddling Paradise, which is located on Elbow Creek, just north of us by Ballard Park. The second one is Captain Alex Gritsky. He is the captain for Local Lines Guide Service. The third one is Laura Lee Thompson. She's a 5th-generation Floridian. She is also the owner and operator of Dixie Crossroads. And the last one is CJ Hobgood, which is a world champion surfer and co-owner of Salty Crew. So the first one's going to be Gary, and he's right behind me.
Thank you. First of all, I want everybody to give themselves applause. It's great to see this many people that's out supporting the river like you guys are. This is a great thing to see a full house like this. Little information, background about me. Some of my fondest memories when I was a small child was my stepdad was a commercial crabber. He also oystered. He fished. So the waterways were a big part of our life. And no matter where I go, I got a degree in marine biology. I traveled around. I did tours up in northern Alaska. I always come back to these waterways, the Indian River Lagoon, Banana River, Mosquito River Lagoon, and the Ogallie River, because I'm just blown away by this whole ecosystem here. Where else are you going to get the warm currents coming from the south, get the currents coming from the north, and they kind of collide right here? We have over 3,000 different species of fish and birds and plant life just forming right here in this very area. It's very, very unique, and the history behind this place with the Asis Indians that inhabited the area. A lot of people don't know. There was a town called Pathodia. It's actually Ballard Park now, and it was a big community, a fishing community for these Indians. And to this day, they're still finding the artifacts in that area. And cool story. I used to tell people a lot. A lot of guys used to laugh at me. I did a lot of time in the military. I did 18 years in the Army and 2 years in the Navy. And I'd be in some of the worst places around the world, but I'd be reading my books on the Florida Waterways. You know, and a lot of people would laugh at me, and they're like, "You're in the worst place. You're reading on, you know." That's what makes me happy. That's where I'm at peace, reading about the Florida Waterways, because it's such a part of me. Yeah, if just think about it. If you go out kayaking or paddleboarding or boating or whatever your pleasure is on the water, just think if everybody that lives on the waterways or by the waterways, while they're kayaking, just pick up a piece of trash, put it in your kayak. Amazing how clean the waterways would be if everybody just kind of chipped in. If you got a chance to volunteer. Get involved with the oyster bed projects and get involved in planting the mangrove trees in the waterways. Whatever you can to get involved to cleaning up the waterways. Be a part of these community cleanups that happen all the time. If you look in the papers or look online, there's always a cleanup going on the rivers. And go out there, and even though you might have lived here your whole life, get involved with the tour guides. Go out and take a tour. and learn what you can from those tour guides, and just maybe you learn enough to go on and tell future generations so they can be future naturalists. And I'd like to thank you guys again. Come out and see us at Paddling Paradise, and thank you for having me.
Hello, folks. My name is Captain Alex Gritsky, born and raised in Merritt Island, Florida, and grew up spending my entire life on the lagoons. Many would expect me to come at you as a guide, but that's not where I'm coming from. I'm coming to you as a father and as a several generation lover of these lagoons. We saw and knew the issues were coming. The water went brown many months ago, way before the fish started dying. We had the issues in 2011 and 2012. And all I can ask of you at this moment in time is that you actually get active. And I know Gary touched on the oyster restoration people. They're doing a great job. And also your mangrove planting stuff. And also picking up a piece of garbage. It's so easy to see how few people care when they go down to the water and leave everything there. And it's actually disgusting sometimes. For our children and for our children's children, we have to get active now. I've cut my teeth kind of with the port and them wanting to do a railway. And I migrated that into being able to speak in front of politicians and scientists and people that know a lot more about it than me. However, I get to see it every single day. I spend up to 7 days a week on the water. And to see the life and see the diversity out there and also see it struggle in the way it has over the past 5 to 7 years is disheartening. One thing that really caught me, and I'll leave you with this, is as we were going around with several different media outlets looking at the dead fish at the fish kill, which I call an extinction event. It was not a fish kill. A fish kill is what happened in a lake over in Merritt Island. We saw redfish, and those weren't just redfish. I could take my phone right here and take you back through client after client after client that had caught those very redfish. The fish we have here, the diversity we have here is very special. It's very unique, and I implore you to educate yourself. Get active. Write a letter. Do something. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming out tonight.
Get this thing rigged up for short people. All right. Appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight and cover tourism and commercial fishing. And those are two hugely important topics. I'm not going to dwell on tourism too much because everyone should know that negative publicity about the condition of the lagoon greatly impacts tourism. We just want you to know that the folks on the Tourist Development Council and staff at the Space Coast Office of Tourism very much want to be a part of the solution. Our livelihoods depend on a healthy lagoon. Although they are among the most impacted by the conditions in the lagoon, commercial fishermen often have no voice, and I'm proud to represent them. In the past, Brevard County was one of Florida's top seafood producing counties. That's no longer the case. I'm going to share with you some eye-opening figures from the FWCC. Landings from 1994, and then 20 years later, landings for 2014. In 1994, 1,463,000 pounds of clams were produced in Brevard County. In 2014, 5,000 pounds. Blue crab, 2,234,000 pounds were produced in 1994. In 2014, 141,000. Brown shrimp, something I need for my restaurant. In 1994, 197,000 pounds of brown shrimp. In 2014, 23,000 pounds. Brown shrimp that's the predominant shrimp that uses the seagrass beds in the lagoon as a nursery, and a lot of other commercially harvested species use the lagoon as a nursery, then move out into the ocean where they're commercially harvested. In 2013, the first brown tide event started in Mosquito Lagoon. Among the first casualties were the clam farmers. Millions of seed clams perished, a loss of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The water quality has never recovered enough for clam farming to resume, which is really sad when you think about the critical role that shellfish play in filtering water. Many of the fishermen have lost their bottom leases. If you have a clam lease and you don't plant for 2 years, the state can seize your lease. Water's been messed up for 4 years. They've lost their leases. Since 2013, we've seen diminished landings of mullet, sheephead, spotted sea trout, and blue crabs at my sister's fish house. I talked to one of the Oak Hill fishermen today to get a feel for what's happening in the lagoon. I'm already out of time? Okay. Jeez. Well, there's a lot going on in Mosquito Lagoon. So I want to finish up with commercial fishermen. They've lost their livelihoods. Many of them are in their 50s and 60s. No young people are entering the industry because there's no future. Let's put them back to work restoring the lagoon. When we get Mr. Barfield's money, let's pay them to gather dead fish if we have another fish kill. If we'd been ready when the last fish kill happened, within the first 5 or 6 hours, we could have harvested a lot of those fish, and they could be frozen and used for bait for crabbers and longliners. Let's pay them to plant seagrass. You can grow seagrass in water containers that hold water on the shore, and then you can move it out into the lagoon. The commercial fishermen would be perfect candidates to do that. If we don't fix the water, we may be well looking at the last generation of Indian River Lagoon commercial fishermen. Thank you.
See if I can get under the time zone here. But I just want to say thank you. I know there's a generation, under you guys that are so thankful that you guys are passionate and doing what you're doing. And I'm here because everything I've been given is from the ocean and from the lagoon. And so I'm incredibly responsible, but I'm also incredibly uneducated, I feel like. So that's why I'm here, and thank you guys for teaching me. And yeah, I know you guys feel probably the same way I feel as far as our legacy and where we're gone hinges on what our kids can enjoy and the lives they can make from the ocean and from the lagoon and from everything that provides for us here. So all I want to do is become a professional surfer. I became a professional surfer, and when me and my brother started making some money, all we wanted to do, and the first thing we did, we went and bought a house. I grew up in Satellite Beach, went and bought a house in Satellite Beach, built a dock, put a boat lift in. All we wanted to do every morning when we came back from some country was to go catch redfish. And even though we were given everything, that's all we cared about and wanted to do. So yeah, that's about it. And then now that I'm getting out of surfing, and I was on tour for 17 years, I kept realizing, oh my gosh, I'm responsible. I got to do something for the next generation. And so we started Salty Crew, and the acronym stands for Salvaging a Lifestyle for Tomorrow's Youth. And I don't know where I fit in or what I do, but thank you for educating me. And you guys will have to pass the baton, and then I'll have to pass the baton, and hopefully we can leave the place better than we found it, obviously. Thank you.